Hey guys, welcome to Waste Not Wednesday. We're live from the farmhouse kitchen working on this chair. I believe Diane Johnson gave it to me for free. It actually had a tag on it, so I'm gonna cut that off. We have this area in the front of the shop where I put like random project pieces or like fun big stuff that won't fit in the shop. So this was hanging out there, but nobody bought it.
Well, it didn't have a seat on it.
Yeah, when it came to us, it had been glued, right?
Yeah, it already had the Gorilla Glue, which Gorilla Glue is great. It foams a little bit, but in this case, it looks like it needed it and held it together really well. I had to cut out a majestic sea turtle seat for it.
A majestic sea turtle. Zeb, you want to show them your pattern that you did?
Yeah, let me
I
go
feel like
grab
that was super helpful. So a lot of times you'll find these antique chairs. This probably had a woven, that like, I don't know what those are
like
called.
That fabric.
No, that woven.
Oh, like caning?
No, they're like thick binding. I use them for farmhouse stuff when I'm making aprons, you know. I don't know what the strapping.
Yeah.
Woven strapping underneath, and it would have had probably down or feathers on here, and then it would have been upholstered over the top and stapled here. But when we got it, this was the condition it was in.
Well, and we could restrap it, but look how many times it's been reupholstered and nailed, and I'm worried that that wood isn't going to hold much longer with too many more things nailed into it.
I do love traditional strapping on old chairs, but in this case, we're just redoing it. Zeb made a pattern.
So this is my
cutouts.
hasty pattern that I just, I kind of just pushed some cardboard on there and loosely traced it and razor knifed it out. And it fit pretty tight, but it got me close enough that I could start putting this in there, which still kind of puzzles in weird. The turtle will live there.
So if you've got a chair where it's got a lot of weird cutouts and you're not sure how to find the shape, use cardboard first, make a pattern, and then this was just cut out with a simple jigsaw. And even I can use a jigsaw, not great, but a jigsaw is not a super complicated power tool.
You do great, and they're super useful. You can do all kinds of stuff with a jigsaw.
I use a jigsaw a lot when I'm doing shiplap. So if you're looking into what power tools to buy, a jigsaw has a myriad of uses, not just for shiplap, but obviously for home decor.
So question for you.
Okay.
Should I screw this down to the top, or are we just gonna pull batting and things over and staple it and it'll never move because it'll be stapled down with the fabric? Because it's got a little...
we're gonna staple over the top?
Well, I thought you were gonna pull the fabric through.
Oh, I thought we were gonna screw
down
from the bottom and I was making a cushion. No, I want the fabric pulled down, you're right. So just leave that there. Let's cut the foam and put the batting over it.
This upholstery job just got super complex because it is harder to cut these corners and pull it down.
Can you cut out, I'll start painting the chair and you cut out the foam that's gonna fit on that?
Yeah.
All right, I'll swap spots with you.
Okay.
I'm over here though, because I'm on the, let's move that.
I'll move the camera over.
Okay.
I was looking at the kitchen here and I'm like, oh, I gotta trim out that back door and then the kitchen's pretty much done.
I'm gonna put my milk back there because I don't want to spill milk on my project. I actually love the French blue color that's on here. This is the color it came with, but I decided I wanted to do a different color underneath. Do we have a
I can get you a
standard screwdriver?
Yep.
Are you proud that I called it standard and not flathead? I also need a razor blade for my cup to mix up my salt wash. All right, so I'm going to be using DIY paint in weathered wood and some salt wash to add some crusty old texture to this. And then I will paint it white and we'll distress back so the blue and the salt wash come through.
All right, do you need the beadboard open as well?
Yes, please. I like to reuse all of my cups and things for paint. These actually work out pretty well for salt wash. So weathered wood is like this dark gray color. I thought about going black, but I wanted something just a little bit softer. I don't need a lot.
Where did the foam go that we're using?
It's on the floor.
Oh, okay.
Next to the island on the other side. Like on the side that we're upholstering.
Oh, so I did a full loop for nothing.
You did a full loop, a loop-de-loop. Oh, I don't have comments pulled up. I'll check comments in a minute, guys. Caitlin's on here.
Oh, you know what I need to do is turn the air compressor on and get you air.
Yes.
I'll do that in a second because it's going to be a minute for you to paint that.
All right, I'm going to move this over here. I'm going to move your pattern. Okay, next, we've got salt wash. You can buy the paint and products we carry at jamirayvintage.com. Salt wash, hands down, is one of the most versatile items that we carry. You can mix it up with milk paint, DIY paint, and it gives you a fun chippy texture.
And you can go as heavy or as light as you want with the texture. Some people like to smooth it out and just kind of make it look kind of like old world, almost like a stucco. And some people leave it like really bumpy with a bunch of ridges and things on it. And it's however you want. You do you.
You should measure it, but I don't. I just pour it in there till I get what I like.
You're just going for a consistency though.
Yeah. I'll show you the consistency.
You're using my screwdriver?
I'll wipe it off. It'll be okay.
I don't have my Sharpie marker on me like I usually do, so
I have Jack's markers. You want a marker?
Yeah, where's Jack's markers at?
His art craft.
Where's
his craft supplies.
Where's Jack's markers? Where are Jack's markers?
Here's his craft basket. Our kids are at the farmhouse a lot, so we keep stuff here. Keep them occupied.
Yeah, they've been. Well, so Jamie's mom usually picks them up, but she's been in the hospital for about 4 days. She's home now. If you missed the post, she's back home and doing better.
Yep. So we keep the kids here.
She didn't have to have surgery. Everything worked out.
All right. So here's the consistency of what I'm going with here. Hold on, let me wipe this off. So that way Zeb doesn't have... Screwdrivers really work well because you can wipe the paint off really easy. Just don't leave it on there.
Yeah, after a few times, if you leave it on there, it gets crusty and then it's kind of done.
I'm using my zipper round brush. I've had a lot of people ask if salt wash is bad for your brushes. If you wash it off right away, I've never had a problem. If you're not super good at washing it off, maybe don't use your most expensive brush. This is not a super thick consistency. I didn't want it really crusty. So I'm just gonna come and like randomly apply this.
Where are those scissors? This is the wrong
show
tool
you
for
guys.
this. Do you have scissors? Did you get scissors?
Yeah, I brought scissors. That's why we were late. I had to run to the shop. I forgot them. Luckily, the shop is literally like 3 minutes from the farmhouse. It makes life very convenient. All right, I guess I should probably pull up comments. Where did I put my phone at?
I don't know.
Okay, well, I'll get this applied first. You guys, oh good.
When you're cutting your foam, we're gonna pull this down and kind of force it into submission. So the shape just kind of needs to be close. If you get off your line, you don't have to really sweat it too much.
Another great thing about salt wash, guys, let me show you. This had a crack. Do you see where the white is? That's been repaired. It's been covered up, but sometimes even then it'll come through. So if you kind of put salt wash over the putty, it'll totally add texture where the repair was, and then you won't be able to see it. So if you have a piece where you've had to do some repair, you could just add texture over it. It makes it good. This is something we're keeping for the farmhouse. My dad loves to sit in a chair that has arms, not arms, but like an upholstered type chair. So does Zeb. We currently only have one upholstered chair.
You just put it at the head of the table, and that's where I prefer to sit so that no one bumps me while I'm eating. It has nothing to do with like I'll sit anywhere where no one's around me when I'm eating.
There's a constant struggle between sitting at the head of the table.
So I eat like this.
Between him and my dad.
And don't come close to me when I'm eating.
Anyways, we're gonna have two captain's chairs. I have one at the house right now that we've had forever. That's an old antique chair that's super sturdy. It actually needs a new upholstery job too, so that'll probably happen here pretty soon. I think I've had that chair for the better part of maybe 15 years.
The one, yeah. Well, I made a seat similar to the one we just made.
I bought that chair naked, just like this, with no seat. And I remember when I upholstered the back the first time, I really had no clue what to do. So I literally used poster board behind my batting. And so when you push on the chair, it goes, whoa, you can like hear the poster board.
Well, that was before we were even selling furniture.
Yeah, no, I just did that for myself. I remember I paid $15 for the chair. It kind of looks like a French antique, and it is so dang solid. Yes. It's one of the few antique chairs we have that's like a really good condition.
I'm gonna have to go take a nap after cutting this foam out.
You're doing a good job. All right, I'm gonna pull up comments and then
So we just picked this foam up from Walmart. They've got them in the back with their craft section and upholstery. They have like all kinds of sizes. I'm sure you could get it at any fabric store too.
You can also occasionally find big camping foam that we like to use at Home Depot. You get a big sheet for like $19.
Yeah.
So if it's camping season, buy the foam. They don't carry it year round.
We actually did a whole couch with those. that couch that you did in drop
Yeah.
cloth.
I had to do so I don't know, we have a video on it. I don't know if you guys have seen Parade of Homes, but I was invited to decorate an entire basement apartment for Parade of Homes, which was a great honor, except for the fact that we were flat broke. $0, right? So I literally had about $500 to do a 2-bedroom basement apartment for the Parade of Homes. So Zeb built a gorgeous farm table because that was only the cost of wood. I whipped together an upholstered couch with drop cloth, foam from Home Depot, and I did hire out the cushions, but I have a gal that didn't charge too much of the time. And we just whipped together a bunch of candlesticks and things that we could use what we already had. Very much a waste not project. And it came together beautifully. In fact, we bought this dresser for $50 that was probably worth well over $1,000, and we wound up selling it for $500.
Yeah.
It had square nails in it, but if I can remember and find the video, I'll have Zeb drop it in the links when we're no longer live. I think it says it's a home tour video, and then on the thumbnail it shows this gorgeous home outside. It's kind of a clickbait because we're not doing the gorgeous home. I just did the basement apartment.
We did, well, I don't think
we have a video on the couch too.
Oh, we have a separate video?
Yeah, there's a video just on the couch and then on the home tour.
I'll try to find the links. That was like 4 years ago.
One of my, and we pulled it together in just like a few weeks. Then once the home tour was over, we sold it all. But I remember being so broke that I was counting down to when the home tour was over so I could sell the product that we had made so we could pay bills.
Well, the Parade of Homes lasts for like, what, like a month? 3 weeks?
It lasts forever. I was like, oh, is it ever gonna end? I need to sell that stuff. It was good. So now I can say that I was a designer in the Parade of Homes.
I think haven't we been asked to do other projects too since then? Just not like whole rooms, but like projects for furniture. I think someone wanted us to build a table for like a year ago, and we're like, oh, we're not doing tables anymore right now.
Yeah, we don't do a lot of custom building. All right, all right, I'll just very carefully put this back here. Let that soak. Where's my phone's right here.
We may get back to that though, guys. Once the farmhouse is done, we're gonna get back to like building tables and doing fun projects. So hopefully January 2021.
I have a whole list of things I want to make. I've been patiently waiting.
All right, now we have 2 majestic turtles.
Okay, electric knife does work well.
Yeah.
We have one, but it's at the house we actually live at.
It's at the other house. Okay, I'm just gonna set this on here and just make sure it fits pretty well.
All right, I'm just seeing.
Let me flip that around. That salt wash is wet.
Yep, it's still wet. So it says in the directions for the salt wash to knock it down when it's halfway dry, but I don't. I just leave it and paint over it, and then I sand it.
Oh.
What?
No, that'll work because I'm looking at it here. I shouldn't have cut these corners out.
No, you gotta put foam in there.
So, because they gotta get pulled over. All right, I will put more foam in there. I actually should have cut it big because there's gonna be some fairly serious
It's okay
gaps.
because we have batting.
All right, we'll stuff
But
it.
you need to put foam here and probably glue it together. So find some wood glue. I'm just seeing no more pie. No, there's pie. Don't worry.
There's pie in the back.
We're slowly
I've been eating it.
working our way through the pie.
All right, so that one works there. Okay. Don't do it like me.
Looks like we still have a few people who have a blurry feed. If you have a blurry feed, just go to settings on whatever you're watching and make sure you up the DPI, which is dots per inch, because we film in high resolution on our iPhone 12. So if you don't have high resolution on whatever you're watching, it just comes through blurry.
So it'll say like 280p, 420 I think is one. 720, I don't know.
Lily says she loves to see me with an apron on. Well, I happen to have this grain sack apron hanging here, and I have a hard time with the ones around my neck because they rub wrong, but this is one of the crossbacks, and it's pretty comfy.
I'm gonna go find some glue.
All right, we actually have a gal that sews these, and we've been sold out for a while, but we have some more on their way. I think I have like 15 more grain sack aprons coming, so we'll let you guys know when those come in. I've looked to try to find like linen aprons like this, but they're so expensive. So I like the grain sack because they're really durable. All right, let's dry this paint so we can get started painting because it has to be all the way painted before we can upholster it. Zeb, where did you go?
I'm just
Looking for glue?
I'm gonna use this liquid nails once it's
Denise
in.
says not January 2029.
Well, that's when all the trim gets done.
No, the trim has to get done in Denise. Oh, and we have the video complete on the mudroom water fountain that we just put in. But we did a brand deal with LK and we're waiting for them to approve it. And once they approve it, then we can throw that video up. Which LK was super sweet. They sent us the drinking fountain in exchange for a video. And I wasn't even sure they'd work with us. It was on my list of things I wanted. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to see if I can do a brand deal because I'm going to buy one anyways. And sure enough, they were nice enough to work with us. Because we went to the Parade of Homes, not this last time, but before, pre-situation. We don't know what the situation is. You'll have to ask in comments. But pre-situation, we went to Parade of Homes, and every home that was a family home had a drinking fountain in the mudroom, and I just thought that was the best idea. And so far, the kids have used it a ton. We have a basketball hoop right outside the mudroom. They like to play basketball
You
there.
know, the funny thing about it is Redrick and Jack have been going and playing basketball so that they can get thirsty and have an excuse to use the drinking fountain.
True that.
And Eliza's like, hey, that's like the one at school, but the water comes out a lot better.
Yeah. Well, it also has a bottle filler, so once we get our reusable water bottles, I forgot to save myself a copper one. We sold out of the copper water bottles at the shop, so I gotta wait till more come in. I ordered a bunch more copper water bottles, so this time I'm saving myself one so I can keep it at the house.
All right, so you got weathered wood. We're gonna have the blue coming through, and then beadboard is the top, right?
Yep. And you can start painting. Let me just dry one. You know it's dry when it goes light. The areas that are thicker with the salt wash take a little bit longer to dry.
Do we have other brushes?
No, you can use that one. That's the sampler. You might want to stir that up. That's that paint that sat out on the porch for a long time and froze and defrosted and...
It's fine.
It's fine, but... So he's just using beadboard. Here, you want to show him what it looks like already? Like the texture is yummy.
I'll bring the camera close.
Okay.
So, little bit of texture build up here. Feel like it's going to give it kind of that old world, been painted 100 times vibe. It looks like it's actually only been painted once. Looks like we have the wood and then the blue on there.
Thanks, Marlene. She says that our house makes a great backdrop for our videos. I would have to agree. We've been renting for 9 years, I think.
Yeah, well,
And
9 years in November, so we're over 9 years.
yeah. And our cousin is our landlord, which is why we were able to do so much fun stuff. But there's a lot of ideas that have been really in my brain that I've been patiently waiting to implement. So it's been really fun to get to bring those ideas to life. A lot of the things that we pick and do are not really typical. They're just things that we've thought about and seen over time from our travels that I've really wanted to implement in my
I'm
own
going to pull
home.
this out. We had to get 2 appraisals done because it's so unique. They just want to make sure that the first guy was on his game and see what the second guy said. But I think we'll be fine. A lot of it's based off of how many rooms are in the house and square footage and above ground living and things like that. So it should come out similar on both ends. I find that appraisers don't worry too much about aesthetics. That's more for your realtor to deal with.
Well, it's funny because I was a little annoyed that they were not super interested in the design. They're like, okay. I was like, listen, this took a long time.
They're like, oh neat, you shiplap the entire house.
Okay, we have 2 walls of drywall going in. We have almost all the first floor shiplap. Oh, we got a new channel member. Welcome, Lily. All right, Lily, we have a live video for channel members that just came up yesterday. And we just put up the channel member printables that are really great for Christmas. So make sure you hit up community. And in community, you're going to see members only posts that doesn't show up in my regular feed. So check that out so you don't miss those printables. One of them is Christmas tags that Zeb designed, and they're really cool. The nice thing about doing like a crusty finish is when your kids get crap on your furniture, it just adds to it. Not that my kids would ever get
No.
stuff on my furniture.
You know, we have a mess monster at the house. The rest of the kids are actually pretty clean. Jack, at 6 years old, will still touch everything, move it all over the house, use it wherever he was at, and leave it. And, you know, it's like he's like 3, but he can't focus what he wants to do.
I feel like it's been worse since we've been busy.
Yeah.
So once we're around, he probably won't. And we shouldn't complain because
I
always think that, you know, he's messy, but then I see regular kids, they come to my house and they touch like ornaments on my tree. And I'm like, why are you doing that? Why would you touch my decor? And Jack, for the most part, since he was probably 2 years old, he doesn't touch any of the ornaments on my tree. He doesn't mess with it. Like, I always have a fully decorated dining table. Never touches it.
I think it's just because he's grown up around it.
Yeah.
Like, since he's been around, I've been home working with you, and we've been doing this full time. I say a mess. He's gotten into making cardboard box forts and like little things. And so like his little cardboard mess is all over the place. And he doesn't quite use the vacuum yet. I need to teach him that skill.
We full well know that, I pulled the camera down so you guys can see what I'm doing. We full well know that crafting is a messy situation.
Yep.
I actually think one coat's gonna be good.
It got a little gray over here where the salt wash wasn't.
Just dry the one coat and let's give it a distress because I really want a layered aged effect. Perfection is not necessary for this chair.
I'm trying to channel my inner Jami and paint fast, but I think I'm still not going.
I have to decide what fabric I want. So this is a grain sack we carry at the shop. This is the 3-stripe grain sack. And I like that. But I also have some antique American grain sacks. So I could, here's my skirt for under the kitchen that I haven't sewn yet. I'll just put that back on there. Maybe I'll just hot glue it on. That'll work. Let's see. I have a basket of grain sack scraps. Do we want it to say like something on it? Or do we want it to just be simple?
I kind of like just that simple look.
The 3-stripe?
And that if you wanted to later, you could do like a pillow that's fun, or even stencil it.
All right, I'm gonna use this fabric.
Like we have those grain sack stencils. You could just plop one right on there.
Cynthia says simple. Okay, so this fabric, I think it's like $15.95 a yard, which it's probably, I'm guessing by, how wide is this then? Do you think it's 45 or 55 inches wide?
I don't know, but my glue just fell off and it might be on the floor.
Oh, yeah, it is. I'll wipe it off. I forgot that you glued those back on. Oh no, now my hands are messy. Okay, I think it's 45 inches wide.
And I don't know if that's that glue will really hold much, but it'll keep it.
This?
It's liquid nails. It's what I had handy. I couldn't find wood glue on the fly.
Oh gosh, all right, let me just wipe that off there.
It's mostly just a placeholder until we get the fabric around it, and then I don't think it'll move anywhere.
All right, so we're gonna go with this. I don't know if it's 55 or 45 inches wide. Let me look.
Here, let me fix this.
Pretty wide, so I'm guessing, but it looks like 45 inches. The good news is we don't need the full width. So like if you buy a yard of fabric, you're gonna get more than one chair. You know what, I'm gonna wait to cut this until we put it on the chair, and then I'll know exactly how much to cut because you need a little bit more fabric when you're coming over the edge.
All right, well, you might want to start coming behind me and heat gunning this.
I was going to cut do you want to cut, you're better at cutting. You want to cut the batting and I'll paint?
Sure.
Okay, switch.
Well, and you're faster at painting with a brush anyway. Jamie's a whiz with a paintbrush.
Well, I'm not necessarily neat is the problem.
So I just need to cut this. Oh, I think we got the squares in the wrong
If it wasn't
spots.
Diane Johnson that dropped off this chair, let me know if it was you and you're not Diane, but I'm like 99% positive this came from Diane.
There we go. It's actually sticking pretty well, this liquid nails. It's working.
I like to use flat brushes when I gotta put paint on fast. And even though this is detailed, it seems to be working pretty good.
Do you want this to be double layered?
What?
Do you want this double layered?
And you need to cut it bigger so we can pull it over and soften all the edges. So the batting just really softens the edges of your foam. So it's not such sharp.
I'm just gonna cut it
Contrast.
square.
Okay.
for now. And then when we pull it, we'll have to cut all those.
I'm probably not gonna get around to waxing this before we put fabric on it, which is fine because I'll wax it later and then I'll hot glue trim on there. I like to use hemp trim. Did I get all the areas? Okay. Just making sure there's no questions. Carolyn says Jack is creative.
He
True
is.
story. All of our kids like to make stuff, except for Harrington tries to
He tries to find his inner maker.
He tries to find his inner maker, but he cuts our cutting boards out and he does a good job. He actually needs to cut Leslie's cutting board out. Leslie, if you're watching, it's getting done today. I have been on these boys to get that cutting board done.
Sorry, Leslie.
Today I sent the picture and the measurements. I'm like, this is what I need done. So we'll get that done. So if you're wondering if it's my shipping team or if it's my husband and Harrington team, it's not my shipping team.
All right, I think that'll work out. Do we have another brush? Are the brushes in the bathroom?
There's a brush, yeah.
You know what? I'll just start heat gunning it.
Yeah, you start heat gunning it. I'm just filling in the areas that were missed. And I'm not worried about 100% coverage.
Oh, that's what was burning.
Oh, careful with the heat gun on the...
Yeah, I can't set it on the moving
the fabric
blanket.
melted on the meeting.
That's gonna stink.
Blanket. The nice thing about our countertop is it's wood. We've already had a few things get on it. And we just sanded it off and added some more oil wax. So I was like, this countertop is gonna be great. Just gonna get better with age. Zeb, when we were in France, there was whose palace was it? Was it Marie Antoinette?
Yes.
It was the servants' kitchen.
Well, it was the servants' kitchen off to the side and down in a basement.
And they had this old island, and it had just worn with age, and it was gorgeous. It was a wooden island top. So that's when we kind of decided that's what we wanted to go with at the farmhouse.
I mean, you could see the knife cuts in
Yeah,
it,
it was
and just
so great.
It was, and like where they would need stuff, like it was like a worn spot.
It's funny because the style that we have is very much an acquired taste. And a lot of times, especially people that don't understand it, they question it, but then they see it all pulled together and they're like, oh, that looks really good. And the reality is to get that look, you have to have so many imperfect pieces pulled together, and then all of a sudden, once it's all together, it just clicks. All right, I think I'm just making sure I don't have any drips. Chippy, not drippy.
Yep.
All right, that's good. Do you see anything where I need to?
No, I think since we're doing you might want to paint a little farther down here, because I don't.
Oh, we
that
don't
might
know
show
where it's
a
gonna
little,
hit.
yeah, on this side too.
Yeah, let's paint that just in case.
So the heat gun's giving us two effects. It's drying it quickly on the live video, but we're also getting a little crackle out of the paint.
There's some paint on the bottom of it.
And now that that beadboard is on there, you can really see that texture pop out quite a bit more. And when we sand it and distress it, you're going to get a lot of that coming through.
I'm gonna go find sandpaper. I think there's some in the buffet.
Yeah, if you don't find any there, I know I have a bunch in the garage, but Harrington's been moving all that stuff around as he insulates the ceiling, so we might not be able to find that.
I actually need to take some to Jean at the shop, so I'm gonna put it back here. We actually ordered this on Amazon, and it's pretty decent. We were having a hard time finding sandpaper at Home Depot, so I freaked out. I was worried that there was a sandpaper shortage.
I think there is, like it's still not there.
And I bought this inexpensive orbital sandpaper, and this is like $2.40, and I like that. So let's see, is this dry or is it not dry? Where is it dry?
The front's probably your best bet.
It's
The thing is,
dry-ish.
the salt wash is going to take longer to dry, so you might get some smearing if you go for it
All
right
right,
now.
well, I'll let you finish doing the first initial dry, and then we'll hit it again.
Okay.
We can be patient. I'll answer questions. We still have 19 minutes. And we started late, so really that's like 29 minutes.
Yeah. We were a solid 10 minutes late.
Caitlin says it's like the countertop held in the memory of what had happened over time. I love that. A lot of times people try to erase the history on pieces to make them perfect, and I feel like that's what makes them awesome. I actually find it challenging with the new part of the house to make sure that it has the character and charm of the old part. In our mud room, the one wall you guys have probably seen on Instagram, it's got the LK fountain and the bench and that old chippy salvage hanging on the wall. But the opposite side is the old exterior of the home. Part of it is brick, which they had in their old addition, and it's the only place where they have preserved, don't put that down.
I'm not putting it
Okay,
down.
where they preserved the original brick. And then there's like the exterior stucco, and then when we ripped off the soffit and the beadboard on that side of the house to do the mudroom, there's like this weird brick and wood exposed on the top, so we've had to cover that up, but it's been
That's
really
been interesting.
It's been really interesting to like work through that, but also fun to try to, you know, make it look good but still preserve it. And we have a lot of people saying, you're really going to leave that window between the kitchen and the mudroom and the old stucco. And to me,
Everyone that's seen it has been like, oh, that's really cool.
yeah, to me, I feel like, why would you cover up that original history in the home? Everywhere we saw old homes.
This is the window she's talking about, and you can kind of see the old beadboard through the mudroom there.
Yeah, everywhere we saw old homes where there were additions, like we stayed in a monastery that was 10th century, and then it had some parts of it that were like 16th century and 17th century. And I loved seeing the different architecture that they left from the previous periods, and they didn't cover it up. They just kind of tried to make the next edition mimic the first part of the house. And in Lehi, we don't have anything from 16th century.
No.
Mid-1800s is about as early to mid-1800s is about as old as you can get. If you can find an early 1900s home, you're doing good. So, and
Yeah.
this is 1917. So we're trying to maybe, you know, keep it around for a little bit. Jamie, talk about the sales. Oh yeah, so on Jami Ray Vintage and JamiRayVintageHome.com, if you buy a $100 gift certificate, you can get a, how much? I think it's $20 gift certificate emailed to you for future use. And it's good on everything but DIY.
It's kind of
paint.
like buy 100, get 20.
Yeah, a lot of the big box stores do it. So I was like, hey, sounds like a good idea, we'll do it. So it comes in an email separately, the extra gift card, but Caitlin sends that to you. And then we also marked down, if you guys have seen on my Christmas tree, the glitter Noel banner, we've marked that down to $5.95. Hopefully I'm correct. And that's on the Jami Ray Vintage Home website. So if you've been wanting that, we marked that way down. It's actually I think like 60% off. So am I missing anything, Caitlin? Let me know.
All right, we're getting there, guys. We're almost ready to put this together.
Oh, and Caitlin says if you buy a gift card in the store for $100, like if you come in Lehi and do it, we give your email, like put your email in the system, and Caitlin will send you that extra gift card. All right. Hey guys, is there a reason why you always keep it at an exact hour? Well, mostly because we have other things we got to get to.
After an hour, you start getting lots of trolls sometimes. We've had an issue with that. I feel like YouTube's kind of cracked down on that a little bit, but it still happens.
Yeah.
But a lot of it's just time constraints. We got to get this house done. and before, it was an hour because we had to pick kids up from school or run them around and do things, and that's different this year, but it still works out pretty well.
Do you have a picture of the servants' table? Did we take one?
I do have a ton of pictures of that.
Okay.
I'll try to hunt them down. They're in my archives from a year ago, so they're probably on. I'll have to find which hard drive, external hard drive they're saved on.
Anna, we did salt wash the chair. You know what? Why don't I take them on a little field trip and show them the mud room, what we're doing with, since we've been talking about it while you finish drawing that.
Just make sure if you see it now to watch the video later.
Well, there's more
There's
stuff
an
going
edited
on.
video coming.
They're gonna wanna watch the edited video. Sorry guys, I'm gonna try to be as Okay, so this is the mudroom to which I am referring. Let's put it on the stand. All right, so we've got shiplap on this side. We will have beadboard ceiling up there going in today. That is an antique door. And then this is the old part of the house that used to be the exterior. And right about here is where there was like a little tiny mudroom. There was about this wide that came into the old part of the house. And that ended about here. So this is all the original stucco here. And above, you can kind of see where we've added trim up here. And the vertical shiplap that we have in the old part of the house, it'll look much better when it's painted. But we had to cover up that area. And then Zeb has finished framing out the doorway. So if you guys recall, I'm gonna give you a little pan of it. This doorway,
the doorway that almost crumbled the whole kitchen.
Yeah, this is the one that almost all the way crumbled, but Zeb framed that out, and then we put a new header up here because they literally just hacked into this. So we put a new header up here, and then we used wood to create this big wide. This is how thick my walls are in this old house. It's to about here is the block. And then Zeb had to reframe the house to hold up the roof in the addition, so the framing's on that side, which is why all of our window sills are so deep. And then we have that trim that separates the vertical shiplap and the wall because there was a weird ridge. Here there's like a gap. We'll put some coved trim in there to fill the gap. And then this is the original, let's see if I'll show you guys the corner to give you guys an idea. This is the original brick in the house. So there we go. Let me move this ladder. We showed this a little bit to channel members yesterday. And we talked about it, but originally there was a wall here, and then this part was in the addition, which is why this paint is much cleaner. I've done some mortar repair to the brick because there were some holes and scratches. And there was a wall here, and this they never painted or cleaned because there was a full wall here and it led down into the unfinished basement, which also had bedrooms, but apparently they didn't care. So that's why this is so dirty and this is clean. This is all gonna get sanding, and then I'll give it a new paint job, but you'll still be able to see some of the original brick. So that kind of gives you an idea. And then it just meets up. This is the addition here with the shiplap. We've got an antique window, Seb's birthday balloons. Antique window there. But anyways, so when you come into the mudroom, that's kind of how it pulls together. It's nice and long. It's plenty wide. It's about 40 inches wide. So yeah. All right, let's go see what Zeb's doing. I just thought that might be kind of fun. We've got most of the shiplap in. So today Zeb's gonna work on the banister, and I'm gonna finish the first floor shiplap. How you doing, Zeb?
I think we're there. I mean,
right.
You might get a little smearing from the, but I think it'll just add to it.
It'll just add to the
Yeah, just go light with
ambiance.
it so that you're just knocking down some of the peaks. And I'm just gonna keep going here while you do that and just chasing stuff.
Okay. So Sandy wanted to know if we were going to paint over the stucco or shiplap over the stucco. We are actually leaving it.
I'm gonna leave it
And
for
it's gonna
now. We'll see if we like it in a year or two.
All right, so I'm just bringing back that gray salt wash color and the blue that's underneath. And then we'll give you a close-up. It's going to smear a little bit because some of the salt wash is still a little wet.
That's okay. I feel like
Okay.
it's just bonus smearing.
It's just bonus. We won't have to dark wax it. If there's any part I don't like, I can
Right
always...
here is I need to hit still.
Okay, I'll just move over this way. I'll sand this side so you guys can see
I think
it.
if you sand the front too, it's pretty much done.
This part,
Yeah.
the salt wash just kind of gives it a chippy texture underneath, and you can kind of knock it off.
We'll
You
get
can sand it smooth if you want.
We'll get you a real good close-up picture of it when it's all done, and put that. If you follow us at Jami Ray Vintage on Instagram and Facebook, that's That's probably the best place to see pictures, but we'll put it in community too, the community tab. If you don't know what the community tab is, you can find that on the home page of our YouTube channel. And you just click on that tab. We put lots of posts and pictures and updates and things, especially in between videos. If it's been a little bit between a video, you can see little posts and progress and stuff in there.
Yeah, if there's any part that I don't like, I can always come back and paint it before I wax it. You can also just wet distress too, that also works.
Is that dry enough up there?
Yeah, looking good. I might come back and wet distress some of this.
It's giving it a really fun effect, kind of distressing it while it's still wet. Here, I need to come over here with the heat gun.
Well, some of it's really dry, so it's hard. If I had an electric sander, it would be fast. But I'm gonna get a damp washcloth.
So today, I think today is banister day, going up the stairs. We have to have that in before we can move in. So I think we can actually move in without the ceilings being up, ironically.
But it's much easier to put them in.
But it would be easy. We'll have those in before we move in, and the banister has to be in. And then I think we can move in. Like, they'll come in, they'll test the electrical to make sure it's all grounded properly.
We gotta get the bathrooms pulled together.
The fire alarms have to be in, which is part of putting the ceiling in. And then the one bathroom has to be functional, but our inspector was like, you have a toilet working over here, you just need to get a shower over there and you're good to go.
We need to have more than one toilet ready.
But toilet installs are fast.
Don't say that, I feel like it always jinxes us.
No, even if it takes an hour or two, like, that's on the long end of installing a toilet.
So I'm wet distressing because I'm trying to get back to that base blue color that I didn't paint. It's what it came like. We'll show you an up close. I'll have Zeb do a zoom because he's much better at moving the camera off the base.
All right, I think since you're wet distressing, I think I'm gonna call it on the heat
Yeah, I
gun.
would stop heat gunning it and then I'll heat gun it some more after I wet
I'm gonna go set this on the bench outside so it doesn't burn stuff.
When I use salt wash, I like to use contrasting colors. So in this case, weathered wood with beadboard over the top.
Are we almost ready to start upholstering?
Yeah. If you look at old painted furniture too, it's really not perfect. There's lots of texture. So this really lends itself to a good messy paint job. They see that? This particular leg is like good. It's so good. I even like how the gray's smeared with the white in a few places.
Yeah, it makes it look like it's got like 4 or 5 colors going on.
That's right. I think that's pretty good. I may come back later and perfect it. And I might add some decrepit dust or something after I clear wax it. Where's that heat gun, sweetie?
Oh, I took it out. Do we need to dry that off so
Yeah,
we can...
I wanted to dry it before we put
All right,
the
it's
fabric
almost
on.
upholstery time. If you've been waiting for the upholstery, we're almost there.
Coming.
Ooh, it's gonna get loud. I'm gonna turn the air compressor on.
Okay, but where's the heat gun?
It's right here.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Kai. Talk about products you use and you're sure there are new people on today. So we used DIY's Weatherwood. It's all natural clay-based paint. We mixed that with salt wash, stippled it on with our zipper brush,
It's gonna be loud.
and then we painted it with beadboard over the top, then wet distress and sanded for an aged effect. All of that you can pick up at jamirayvintage.com. That's our original DIY product website. And then the fabric we're using is a grain sack that we sell by the yard at jamirayvintagehome.com. That's our home decor and textile website. So kind of gives you both of them. So, and salt wash, all it is an additive that you can put in any paint. It's got all natural ingredients and gives it an aged textured effect. If you've ever been somewhere and seen old furniture, especially if it's been by the ocean, it gets this weird crunchy texture that's really hard to duplicate. And salt wash helps you put that on any piece of furniture. Because a lot of times when you go to really nice antique stores and they've got that old crusty finish, you're gonna pay $400 or $500 for a chair. Well, if you wanna do a whole house, that really adds up. So this way you can take leftover roadside finds. In this case, this chair was free, and now I'm gonna turn it into something that looks like a high-end European antique. So hopefully that kind of explains what salt wash is good for. Did we get the door unlocked? Last night we did. Took both of us a crowbar, a razor blade situation, but we got the door unlocked, and we're gonna make it so that way you can't use the old lock, because our door that's to the old part of the house has this push button lock, and if it's locked, you can unlock it from the inside. But the antique door that we put in the mudroom, you have to have the key for, and I don't. I actually thought about going to the shop. I have like a huge bucket of antique keys and trying them to see if one of them would work. So Caitlin just dropped the links to jamirayvintage.com and jrvhome.com. Sorry, that air compressor's a little loud. We're gonna get to upholstering here. Let me heat gun. When you wet distress, it gets it wet again. So I just wanna make sure the chair's super dry. I don't wanna get paint on my fabric.
So if you're wondering why you can hear the compressor so good, it's because it's just in the living room over there because we've been using it to nail stuff up.
Air compressors are notoriously loud. It makes the heat gun seem like it's not loud at all.
No, that heat gun's actually pretty quiet.
I really want this fabric area where the fabric's gonna touch to be super dry. Probably the most important.
Now the question is, where did we set the new box of staples?
The new box of staples, I have that. It's gotta be over there somewhere. I have that on the floor with the foam. So when you move the foam, you must have set it somewhere. Oops. I'll help you find it. I'll put some more lines on it.
Well, I know it was right around here when we were getting everything ready.
Okay, so maybe it's in here, Jeff? Did you look? The box? How do you use an entire box of staples?
Oh, they didn't get put there. They're over here on the stairs.
Okay. Let's get started on the upholstery, huh? If you're tuning in late, if you watch the beginning of the video, Zeb will show you how he made this seat cushion. It came with no cushion. A lot of times when you get old chairs, it's been removed. Originally it would have had a woven seat using strapping, but we find that plywood is a much sturdier option. Okay, I need you to mush that down. How did you get this in
You
here?
have to. Okay, and then this goes right there.
So somebody said the skeleton keys usually are like, they open multiple things, so we should go through them. Okay.
Okay, and then did you want to put batting in here, or are you gonna just pull it down?
No,
And
the problem that we're gonna have then is I'm not tall and I can't work up like this.
you need me to get you the stool?
No, I'm thinking we need to just move it to the floor. So can you grab me that other cloth over there? We'll just put it right here on the floor. And I'm gonna disclose that I'm not a professional upholsterer. I actually haven't upholstered anything in a really long time because I have arthritis. So if I look like I don't know what I'm doing or my hands are a little shaky, that's why. Okay. We're gonna move you over to a different part of the house.
Okay.
Shut the bathroom door.
Hey, the air compressor just stopped. Just in
Yay.
time.
Okay.
So these are all smart lights. Fun story about that.
Yeah. The smart light lights were on sale on Black Friday, but you could only pick up 2 boxes per Costco membership. Luckily, I have friends with Costco memberships, so I Venmo'd them and they ordered them and had them all shipped to the farmhouse.
Well, we need 60 can lights, and they were on sale for about $12 a light.
Instead of 20.
And for the smart bulbs that you can run with an app and hook to your Wi-Fi and all that fun stuff. And the regular bulbs are about $10 a bulb. So we're like, oh sweet, that's perfect.
This chair has lots of fun.
Yeah, this is gonna be interesting.
Fun areas. Usually you just have to get around the back, but it has like these little side bracket things. So I just kind of cut at an angle and then fit it around.
I can pull that through.
Okay. The tricky part is when you actually start to do the grain sack. It makes me nervous. So I'm going to go slow and I'll have Zeb answer questions because I cannot do that and talk.
I'm just looking.
We have lots of edited videos on upholstery, so you might want to check those out. I feel like there's lots of details that you kind of just miss. Right now I'm just fitting the batting to the piece. You want it not to be bunchy.
Cynthia says we need a shorter table on locking wheels for doing projects. That would probably be good. Maybe one of these days we'll have like a whole filming studio area where we can just like have it set up all the time and have all the stuff close at hand.
It'll be on the 2029 list.
That's on the 2029 schedule.
So right now I'm just trimming it so I don't have a lot hanging out when I do the fabric. You want to go grab the fabric?
Yeah.
Probably if you made yourself a pattern it would work better. But I'm self-taught and this is just the way I do it.
Where did you put the fabric?
It's right there on top of the basket.
Oh, gotcha. It was underneath the batting, or that's not batting, what's that called?
This like soft organic batting is my favorite. It's for quilting. And if you're just doing a chair, if you buy the size for the baby quilts, it's probably the least expensive and it's more than sufficient. If you're doing a big, like a set of dining chairs, then you could buy like queen size or whatever.
Not to smush your phone.
Yeah. If you cut a pattern out before you cut your fabric, it'll actually save you. What I'm going to do actually, I'm going to set this over the top of my fabric.
There we go. That's a better angle.
Okay. So, move this chair for a second. Sorry, am I blocking it? Can you move that chair over there?
Yeah.
Can you give me the batting?
Yes.
Please? It's right there. It's on the chair.
I have to get you your favorite safety glasses.
Oh, I know.
For when you're about ready to staple it.
I'm just trying to decide how much I actually need for this chair. And it looks like I'll be able to just get half of the width of the fabric, which is always good. This might be 55-inch fabric because it seems to be pretty wide. So if you lay it out this way, it makes it a little bit better because you don't wind up cutting more fabric than you need. And if you waste a little batting, that's a lot less expensive than wasting grain sack fabric. Many times I use authentic grain sacks. They're just only so big. And I try to use every square inch. Also keep in mind stripes and patterns. Sorry.
Why isn't that there?
Keep in mind stripes and patterns when you're cutting. Make sure you're going to be able to center your fabric. And I always like to cut a little bit more than I'm going to need, especially on this type of upholstery, because you have to pull it into place and you can always trim it later, but you can't add back fabric if you cut wrong. And then I don't have it here with me today, but I will, over the staples, I'm just going to hot glue some hemp trim that I pick up at Hobby Lobby. I usually buy it by the bolt when it's on sale. It's relatively inexpensive, maybe $1 or so a yard. Okay. Now I can put...
So I'm thinking I might need to stuff some foam down in here.
No, because by the time you put the batting and the thick fabric,
Okay.
you're going to be fine.
Alright.
You're not gonna want foam because what happens is if it's too tight with the foam, because I'm gonna pull this up and it's gonna mush.
Well, my only
like that.
concern is right here, like this big area
Oh.
there.
Yeah, maybe there.
Because I cut it to the same pattern as the wood, and that's like seat.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, maybe back there. We'll see once we get there.
I'll just have the pieces ready.
You'll be waiting in the wings.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of tucking. That's what upholstery is, at least for me. I think it's probably been, gosh, a year more since I've done it.
At least a year
Maybe more than that.
since you've upholstered something. Okay, that filled that in better, and we don't have any weird lumpies.
So, remember what I said about stripes? Hopefully I follow my own. These stripes need to be centered on here. So I'm gonna just make sure, this chair's easy because it's got these two pieces here.
Do you
so
want
I'll
me to
just
cut this?
No, don't touch it.
Don't touch it.
Don't touch it.
I won't touch
You
it.
can't touch it until you know it's centered. Okay, inevitably it's a little bit off center, but I feel like it looks good. You're my eyes. Now, does it look like these are lining up with the back of the chair?
Just needs to come. Yeah, with the back of the chair, that's great.
You see how it lines up right there?
Yep, you're doing good.
I feel like this stripe, yeah, they're both on the
I think
edge.
once you stretch it and pull it over, you're gonna be fine.
Stripes are hard, so if you're worried about lining things up, use a floral fabric that's not a super repeating pattern. Very forgiving. Okay, now the question also, I need to pull this back a little bit so I have enough to go behind it. Before
Denise Reynolds says you need new scissors, those look dull. I think they're fine, we've just been cutting like really thick stuff.
These are not my fabric scissors. These are the ones I grabbed. I was like, Gina, I forgot scissors, and she was shipping and she handed these to me. So these are not usually cutting paper, which is why they're not great. Okay. I'm gonna commit, Zeb. I'm gonna commit. So what I like to do when I'm doing these wood pieces is I'm gonna cut the fabric about 1 inch away from where it needs to be on these, where the wood comes down, if that makes sense. And then I'll slowly kind of cut and rip it to fit it. It's better to go slow than it is to just rip right through it because that can be tricky.
I'm gonna be camera guy for a minute.
And you can use a lot of trim to hide things. I've actually even, if you want a more shabby look, you can take leftover scraps from your grain sack and cut that into strips and then hot glue it like a ruffle around the edges. So maybe I'll do that too. So I'm fitting this part first. So it doesn't quite fit, it's kind of bunching up here, but before I make my final cuts, I'm gonna fold this over this way and I'm gonna make the cut for this bar that's here. And again, I'm gonna kind of come to the middle of the bar and I'll cut about 1 inch away from it. Because remember, it's going down over the foam. So you don't wanna cut all the way to the edge because then when you pull it, you're gonna expose the foam. There's probably a better way to do this because a lot of you guys have actually taken upholstery lessons. But I started upholstering before Pinterest was really big. And nobody taught me. I have way more fabric on that other side, which is fine. Okay.
It's where the stripes lined up.
Yeah. That's why I always cut bigger so that way I can work my stripes. Okay.
Well, at least the front's gonna be easy enough.
I'm pulling this around. And I'm just, did you hear that? It's really, you can cut it if you want to. I think I'm gonna have to cut it on this side when it's not ripping the way that I wanted. The good news is I have more of this fabric. If this is cut right, then it will lay flat. So we're getting pretty close. I'm gonna cut little strips kind of in here. And that helps it go around. Those will get tucked in. There we go. And now that side's done.
you guys might be getting the extra long video. We'll get to stapling here in just
it has to be done.
Just like a minute or so.
Has to be done right. So, and it's okay if it's not 100% perfect. Like, don't freak out, especially if you've never done it before. It's not going to look like it came from a professional upholstery shop that you spent $300 to have your seat recovered.
Or 500.
Yeah, exactly. I'm always shocked. It can get pretty spendy. I have a queen and chair tutorial where I show you how to do the backs too. Just kind of ripping it into place.
So if you want to see upholstery videos, we basically do this no sewing method on everything. We call it the no sew method. We have an entire playlist of upholstery. I think there's about 20 videos in there if you want to see all of the upholstery projects we've done over the years.
I have upholstered a lot of stuff. I used to upholster a ton of chairs for sale because not a lot of people did it in my area, and it really kind of set me apart, and I could pick them up pretty cheap. So if you're a reseller and you can figure it out, you can really make some money. Because it is a little bit more involved. It's definitely a skill that takes a learned situation. All right, I think that's pretty good. I may have to cut a little bit more. Let's go ahead and start stapling. I'm gonna staple this back piece, and then I'll know how to adjust the rest. So we actually just use a pneumatic staple gun. It's hooked to our air compressor. They make electric ones. This is really inexpensive. You can also use a handheld one. I just feel like the staples go in a little bit better with this one.
So you use the handheld stapler, and I have it. I can go grab it and show it here in just a minute. For probably 3 years, 4 years of upholstery. And then I'm like, hey, I have a pneumatic stapler, try this out. And I showed her how to use it, and she's never gone back.
So the thing is,
safety glasses are over
it's
there,
so much easier on your hands to use a pneumatic gun. And it also,
Your safety glasses are right there.
oh, shoot. It also holds the fabric better, I feel like. So I'm just upholstering this. Whew, it's always shocking on the original line. So I'm gonna tuck this other side, make sure that's good. You can use drop cloth to upholster with, duck cloth. Regular cotton fabric doesn't hold up as well, but you can use it. I don't suggest it, just in my personal opinion. In my humble opinion. So I'm trying to go on the original line. Now I've got it 3 staples in, I can go in the middle. And I can kind of feel, since I moved that cotton batting up, I can feel where the original upholstery line was, and I'm just gonna stay on that.
We're using 1/2 inch 18 gauge staples.
Yeah, make sure whatever project you're doing that your staples are not too long.
And I have the nail gun set at 90 PSI. Sometimes you run into like a mahogany chair or something, and you got to run that air pressure up a bit more.
Oh, I realize now. I gotta come down this way. So I'm gonna take, and I will probably have to pull that out, or I might just leave it and forget about it. But you can run, if you overcut your piece and you can't fold it neatly like this, don't freak out. When you do your trim around here, you can also run that trim up and around the chair, and that will hide any mistakes and cuts. I've made a lot of mistakes, so I'm pretty good at telling you how to fudge it. All right, let's do the front. So I'm wanting to pull pretty good, but you don't want to pull so tight that you get weird squiggles in your lines. So I usually do front to back.
It'll almost look like it's pleated if you pull too hard in some areas.
Front to back, then side to side. Again, if you don't have stripes, it's a little bit easier.
Vanda, Jamie does make this look easy, but you got to remember, this is probably like her 100th chair she's upholstered.
It has been a while though. I feel like...
Are you feeling rusty?
I am feeling super rusty and a little bit nervous to be doing it live. But that's all right. You guys can watch it in real time. See how it's going.
Yeah, I don't know that we've ever done upholstery on a live video.
Probably not.
This might be your first live video, and you chose a hard chair to do, and you haven't done it in about a year.
Well, you know, I like a good challenge. Okay. And you know what the good part is? That this chair had all the staples pulled out of it.
That was awesome. It's like someone had been using it for one of those chair planters that you see.
Maybe. That would have been a great option. Okay, so this is the side where my fabric's kind of short. So I'm going to pull it, but I don't want to squiggle my stripes, so.
Isabel, she just kind of started doing it. She started out with seats that were removable and then worked her way up to doing stuff like this.
Well, and I did custom work before I really had any idea what I was doing, so that was a lot of stress. One of the tips I learned when I would put like hot glue the black trim on, I would use a black Sharpie, and if the hot glue was poking through and you could see it, I would just use a black Sharpie over the hot glue.
Deb says it's fascinating to watch you do this live.
Okay, well, there you go.
Should we put a little piece of foam up in there where you can kind of see where I cut it?
Where?
Right there by your left hand. Yeah, right in
No,
there.
this is fine.
Are you going to pull it tight?
I'm going to pull it tight. So there's a few wrinkles here, but when I pull, let me show you this. See how there's some puckers here? When I pull this back here and I pull this here, they kind of go away. So
that's the bonus of having thicker foam.
Yeah. You can kind of pull against the foam. All right, where'd those scissors go? I got to cut off this.
They're right there.
Corners are hard, guys. I'm really nervous about doing this live, but I'm going to try. This corner kind of goes up.
I can't do corners good.
Corners are hard, especially, I'm going to make sure my hands are functioning. So
shake it off.
I have never been able to do it 100% with no pleats. So I feel like the easiest way to do it is to pull down and then pleat on the edge. So like, I'm going to pull this down. Where's the thing? That's the line. And then this is just going to get pulled as tight as I can. So that way the pleat is more down here, if that makes sense. And then I'm going to pull this one down. So I'm just going to go for it.
Kai, I did get everything repaired. The kitchen sink's done. All the plumbing's in. The dishwasher plumbed and the electric's working, but I tipped it to the side when I was leveling it out. And it had some water in the bottom from when I had stopped the cycle mid-cycle. And now I have it's got like a leak detector on it, and I can't get the code to clear, so it won't start. So I got to figure that out.
Okay. You know what? I'm wondering if I should unpull this out so that way I can pull this part down a little. Yeah, I might.
Carolyn says, I think the grain sack is the perfect choice for this chair, so understated high end.
You know,
well,
some of the most understated things cost the most money.
Well, it's like a mix because the chair itself has a lot of detail and architectural, I guess you just call it it's a really fun design.
Carved and pretty.
And then the grain sack just kind of brings it back and gives it just kind of like a nice homey touch.
I'm realizing now that I need to pull this a little bit more. So
she just ripped a couple staples out.
Don't do that.
Because it wasn't...
You might cause a hole in your fabric and then you might hate me, but...
It wasn't as tight as she wanted it to be.
Getting a much neater corner by pulling it out. Sometimes you just have to admit when you're not perfect. You just come back and you fix it. Okay, got one more little... I'm like trying to pull down this part here where it's like ruffled far enough so that way when I put the trim you won't see it. My trim's about that thick, so I think probably good. There we go. All right, so we got around that first corner rather uneventfully, no major mishaps. Now this is the last part on this side.
You gonna show them the fold?
The fold, the tuck and fold. This is literally, I've had so many times where I haven't cut the fabric right and I've had to just bring my trim to cover up a raw edge, but this actually worked out not too bad. So I think I'm going to be able to get this right. The hard part sometimes is cutting the fabric afterwards. I can't feel, where's those scissors?
Too much batting?
Yeah. It's punching. Okay. Because I have to be able to feel the ledge. I can't really feel the ledge there. Okay, there we go. Don't staple your finger.
The thin poly batting works good too. We like this batting over foam just because Jamie's pulling on it so hard to try to get the foam right where she wants it to lay smooth. So
if your air is up too tight, you're gonna get holes in your fabric. So if you staple it and you get like a big hole, then you need to turn down your PSI on your air. All right, so there we go, that's that one side. Pretty good. Can I duplicate it though? I don't know. All right, how did I do this last one? I did this side first. And then the corner. It's actually not as much pressure because it's not custom and I'm not selling it. I feel like custom work, especially in upholstery, was really stressful.
yeah, when you had a custom upholstery job coming up, it was kind of like don't talk to her right now. She's got to focus on that.
I would blow up the whole living room. Like there would be fabric everywhere, staples. If we had like friends come with little kids, I'd have to vacuum really good so they didn't accidentally crawl into a staple situation. I'm just finding the ridge. I hate removing staples, so I like to make sure I've got it right along that edge. This side is actually pretty good. I don't think I'm gonna have to pull it up.
So the nail gun like this will work with a little pot compressor, a little 5-gallon compressor. They're usually around 100 to 150 bucks. And then the nail gun itself, we get it at Harbor Freight. It's about $40, I think.
Oh, I thought it was like 20.
No, the nail guns are more.
Maybe they was on sale one time.
I think you can get them on sale for like $29 now if you watch their sales or take like a 20% coupon in or whatever they got going.
If you do a lot of upholstery and you're not good at not jamming, like unjamming your gun, I suggest having 2 of them.
Yeah. Well, we bought, when they were on sale, we bought like 3 one time. And one of them didn't last very long. I don't know.
I'm going to have to get better scissors than this.
To cut those.
Yeah, all I'm going to do with the chair at this point, I think we brought you guys far enough on it, is I'm going to probably add a few more staples to hold my fabric down. I'm going to trim it as super close to my staple line as possible. And then I will hot glue trim around the edge. And when I hot glue the trim, one of my tricks is if there's a little bit of fabric that's too long, I tuck it under the trim as I'm hot gluing. And I use probably a good fat trim like that because it covers.
And we have, like I said, we have that playlist of upholstery. You can see her do that.
Yeah, but this is gonna
in
hold
the videos.
Up really well. Grain sack fabric is super durable. Matches my apron. Whew, that was nerve-wracking.
Yeah, but you did it.
I did it.
So
nice.
watch for the picture in about like an hour or 2 because I'm sure she'll finish
this. Yeah, give me some
this.
time. I've got to cut this edge here, and I'm not sure if I have trim. If I don't have trim, then I'll have to get some, or maybe I'll use my trick I was thinking about using, making a ruffled edge.
Well, you didn't blow up the living room, but you did a good job on the kitchen.
So another way that people upholster chairs is that it comes off and you just tuck it under and staple. That's the easiest way to get started. You can do the corners fairly similar, but don't be intimidated by chairs that are what I call full upholstery, meaning the cushion is attached and doesn't come off the chair base. Because it can be done. I'm self-taught. Just give yourself some grace. For the paint and products, JamiRayVintage.com. For the grain sack fabric or authentic American and European grain sacks, JRVHome.com. Be sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to Jami Ray Vintage for more
DIY.
I love you guys. Thanks for joining us. If you're still watching over an hour later, good job.
Catch you guys later.